All right, guys, this is a get shredded morning routine. Okay, so I've created this simple morning routine that's gonna help you guys in a really efficient time manner get leaner. Okay, so get shredded means get leaner. Generally, when we're talking about getting shredded, we wanna see veins, we wanna see vascularity, we wanna see abs, we wanna see cut, we wanna see lines, we want all that stuff. So, number one thing you're gonna do is start fasting. If you don't fast right now, that means just having breaks between when you're eating and not eating. Fasting means not eating, okay? So the common window that I'm gonna suggest people on, there's a caveat, like people that are eating disorders and that, this isn't something I suggest. So if you're in good health, clearly you're just watching a YouTube video or a video of me talking about this, so you know that I'm not talking directly to you. This isn't the best plan for every single person, regardless of health effects. This is gonna work for most people. So you're gonna start fasting. 16 hours of a 24-hour day, you're not gonna eat. 8 hours of that day, you're going to eat. That's number one. So number two is you need to make sure you're in a caloric deficit. A caloric deficit means that you're eating fewer calories than your body needs to sustain all the processes, everything in your body, okay? You are gonna have a comfortable homeostasis, meaning a level in which your body is comfortable with the amount of energy you're intaking versus the amount of energy you're exporting or completing, right? Burning. So a caloric deficit is generally up to, it depends on the calories, but for most people, you're gonna cut a couple hundred calories per day, and that's gonna help you burn more fat, okay? Because you're gonna be taking in fewer calories than you were before. The discretion here is if you're at like a 1200 calorie range or even up to 1500, there's lots of times where I don't suggest going under that. And the people that may be most drawn to this video are going to be people that are not eating enough to begin with. So you just want to make sure, book a time with me and we can go over that specifically, but you want to make sure you're in a caloric deficit in order to get leaner. The third thing you're going to do for nutrition to get shredded is make sure your protein consumption daily is right around the gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 185, you're going to consume approximately 185 pounds of protein. The protein source does matter. The higher quality, the better. That's just the way it goes. If you want to treat your body like a temple, you're going to put in the best quality foods you can. So just know that that will pay off slightly different if you choose really low quality foods versus if you're choosing higher quality foods. I've done both, so they both work, but just keep that in mind. The other thing you're going to do to get shredded in the morning is to work out in the morning, number one, and part two to that, working out in the morning, is working out fasted. So we talked about this 16-8 window, which is the most common fasting sort of ratio that we hear about on the internet. 16 hours of not eating, 8 hours of eating. So within that 16 hours of not eating, you're going to complete your workout, likely in the morning, and you're going to complete it fasted. There's a whole host of things that happen, whether you're strength training or doing more of like a HIIT style workout, that's going to increase your fat utilization in your body, which is what you want. The other thing you're going to do in the morning to get shredded is have cold showers. So if this is something you're used to, we're going to spend at least 2 minutes in a cold shower. Most of us have access to cold water, so it's a really easy thing to add in, and it's really short on time. There's a host of benefits to that. Check out my other videos on cold water therapy, cold immersion, but the cold shower for 2 minutes is going to be key. For those of you who are having a super hard time in cold water, which is most people, start with 15 seconds under cold water and then turn it to warm. If you're on the spectrum of you're like not even going to take my advice because you're so cold, so drained and so scared of cold water, start shower on warm and then finish the shower with 15 seconds of cold water. The whole goal is like progressive ramp up. So if you're feeling friggin' deadly and you want to just go for it, go for 2 minutes. But if you're having a harder time with it and you want a slower up ramp, on ramp, then do that. The supplement I would recommend for this is carnitine. Carnitine is going to help your body use the fat storages for fat mobilization, so it'll be used as fuel even more. And coffee is the last one I'm going to add. Caffeine is a great stimulant that I don't recommend overloading it, but having coffee in the morning is going to help get lean too. So we got some simple stuff. You're looking at the workout being the longest part, and then just adding in fasting into your routine, figuring that out ahead of time, figuring out how often you're going to have protein to get to your body weight in grams, making sure you're in a caloric deficit overall. And the simple stuff is having coffee in the morning and showering. So I will say that the caveat to coffee is most people have it with extra shit in it. I'm not talking about hitting up Starbucks for like a Frappuccino or whatever. I don't even go to Starbucks. Don't add anything that's carb based to your coffee if you're going to include it with fasting. I had a question this morning. A friend of mine said, do you consider grass-fed butter to break fast or not? And the science that I know says that if you have anything that spikes your insulin, that breaks your fast. So anything that's sugar, or anything with sugar or carbohydrates in that will spike your insulin, and protein does a very similar thing, whereas fat does not. So butter is fatty, MCT oil is fatty, whipping creams are fatty, small amounts are going to be totally fine. This is the how to get shredded morning routine.